What's up guys, Powered by Pigs for Life here, and today we're doing something a little bit differently. So as you guys can see, this is no typical Planet Zoo or Jurassic World Evolution 2 video. No, today we're at the Logan Airport in Boston because we're about to embark on a trip that I've wanted to go on for the longest time. Over the next 2 episodes, we're going to be swimming with sea lions, hiking massive volcanoes, and seeing all the unique and fascinating wildlife that can only be found on one place on Earth, the Galapagos Islands. So, with that out of the way, let's get right into it. So, like with any other trip, it all starts here at the airport. Now, I need to let you in on a little secret. I've never been on a plane before. In fact, I've never been out of the country before. So because of that, this entire trip is a completely new experience. First time on a plane, first time leaving the country, and I'll be honest, I know a lot of people don't really see airports as the most interesting thing, but to me, this was an absolutely surreal experience. And what was even a cherry on top is that one of the teacher chaperones had a pass to the lounge area of Logan Airport. So because of that, we got to go to this beautiful lounge where we got free breakfast. It was an absolutely phenomenal experience. We got an amazing view of all the planes. It was a bright sunny day out. It was still cold because middle of April, but I felt like I was living the luxury. As someone who doesn't really get that experience, I was absolutely in love with every single second of it. And so what was even more exciting about this is that this was only the beginning. We haven't even left Massachusetts yet. So if this is how I was feeling at the airport, then who knows how I was going to feel when we were in the Galapagos. So without any further talking, let's head over to Ecuador. Alright, so we have just arrived at our hotel in Quito, the capital of Ecuador. I'm here with my 2 roommates, who you will meet a little bit later in the video. We are absolutely exhausted from a day of flying, so 17 hours of flying. Let's see this. Wow. Hang on. Ooh, there's 3 beds. Woo!
We can trade off.
Oh my gosh, this is awesome. Let's take a look at the bathroom where we've got a shower. Alright, are you guys ready for the official Potbelly Pigs for Life face reveal in 3, 2, 1. Yep, that's me. You guys are going to want to get used to my face because you're going to be seeing it a lot in this video. Now, once I get some sleep, I will tell you guys exactly what I'm doing here. Alright, so it is the next day, and before we move on to all of the fun activities that we're going to do today, I just want to give you a little bit of backstory. So about a year ago, my Spanish teacher announced that the next big school trip would be to the Galapagos. And the Galapagos Islands is a place that I've wanted to go to for the longest time. So because of that, as soon as I saw that the trip was going to be to the Galapagos, I was immediately like, I have to go. This is an opportunity that I certainly cannot pass up. So now we are currently in Quito, the capital of Ecuador. And so the plan is today we are going to be spending the day in Ecuador. We are going to be doing some sightseeing around the capital. And then tomorrow, the plan is we fly to Galapagos. All right, so I just finished up with breakfast, and before we go on to all of the activities we're gonna do today, I just wanna give you guys a more detailed room tour, because I know we did film the first reaction, but it was a little bit all over the place because, like I had mentioned, it was 12 at night, and we just got in, so we were all exhausted. So anyways, here's the full tour. So you walk in, you've got closet space right over here. It's very dark, actually. Right over here, we've got 3 beds. Here's my roommate, Cooper.
Buenos dias.
Little desk, TV, mirror, and the bathroom. So now the thing about Ecuador and the Galapagos is we cannot drink the water because our bodies are not used to the way that the water is treated here, as well as like all the pathogens that are in the water. So the Ecuadorians are used to all this stuff, but seeing that we're not from Ecuador, we are not. So because of that, we have to drink bottled water. So because of that, we got bottled water over here to use to brush our teeth and stuff like that. And yeah, that's pretty much the room tour. So, really quickly, look at this view of Quito, the capital of Ecuador. So a little bit later today, we're gonna be doing all sorts of crazy activities. So, I will see you when we get started. Alright guys, so to start, I just want to show you guys the absolute beauty that is Quito. There were so many mountains. Like, the entire time we were on the mainland, there were just sprawling mountains. And so one thing that I learned on this trip is that Quito is the highest capital city in the world, standing at over 9,000 feet above sea level. So what you guys can see right now is the monument that represents where the equator lies, as this city lies right smack dab on the equator. So our first stop of the day was to this absolutely stunning valley. We had this amazing viewpoint looking into this crater, and then after that we went to this field museum, which was once again right smack dab on the equator. We learned about the indigenous tribes of Ecuador, we learned about some of the wildlife, we learned about the geography, and we also got to see a bunch of replicas of the different architecture that is in Ecuador, and we also got to do a bunch of interactive activities that involves physics and that involves the equator itself. So then after that, we rode up this hill, and at the very top, there was a statue of the Blessed Mother, who is a very important figure in Christianity and Catholicism. And so we got to climb to the top of the tower that the statue is sitting on top of, and we got an absolutely amazing view of the entirety of Quito. So you got the mountains in the way back, and then you've got just the sprawling buildings. And so what I learned is that this is the only statue of the Blessed Mother where it portrays her as having wings. So then we went out into the city of Quito itself. There was a huge gathering because this was all filmed on Good Friday, which is one of the most important days in Christianity. And then after that, we went to this beautiful cathedral, and so we got to climb up the top, and again got an absolutely amazing view of the city. There were some beautiful artwork, some beautiful stained glass windows, and there was also a store where I was able to buy stuff. So because of that, I went on a little bit of a shopping spree. So once we get back to the hotel, I will show you everything that I got. Alright guys, so we just got back to the hotel after eating dinner. We've had a long and very exciting day in Quito, as you have just seen by the footage. And needless to say, did a little bit of a shopping spree. Don't mind these goofs over here.
Get away from me, you demon!
Bye-bye!
Okay, so anyway, so I went a little bit of a shopping spree. So, this is what I got. So, at the museum, I got a little guinea pig that's made out of real alpaca wool. I got a whistle. And I also got a little magnet. And I got this for free. So then, at the statue of the Blessed Mother, I ended up getting this magnet. I got this magnet. I got this statue of an Andean condor. I got these two photos. Or these two, not photos, paintings. They look very nice. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this one to my aunts, and I'm going to keep this one for myself. And I got this little dish. So then at the church, I ended up getting this little primitive whistle that I don't know how to use. I'll probably give it to my brother because he loves musical instruments. I also got 2 snow globes that I will give to my parents. So this one is some Amazonian animals. And then this one is a little mountain. That's a snow globe. So then I also bought this very nice blanket. Ta-da! It's got llamas on it. And then I also decided to buy this bag, so that way it would be easy to bring all the stuff with me. Won't have to shove it in that suitcase or the backpack. And then also I did end up getting this for my mom at the museum. Okay, so one thing I want to do with this vlog series is that after each and every day, I want to do a little bit of a reflection. So I just want to sit here and just think about all that we did today. So we started off by seeing that very scenic view of that like crater / valley. It was really nice. And then we went to that museum, and that museum was super cool. Like, it started out with us learning about some of the indigenous Amazonian tribes. It was super fascinating. Talked a little bit about the wildlife, which I was actually super surprised that I recognized from Planet Zoo. And of course, like, we saw all sorts of like cultural aspects of the Amazonian people, of the Incans, as well as learning a little bit more about the equator. So then afterwards, we went to see the statue of the Blessed Mother, Mary, and that was super cool sight. You could see all of Quito from the very top of that mountain. So then we went to the older part of Quito, with a lot of older architecture, and it was very crowded again because of Good Friday. There were some ceremonies going on, but then we went to go taste some authentic chocolate. So no milk, very little sugar, and so we sort of learned how it originated, how it was made back in the indigenous cultures, and then we sort of topped things off with going to that very nice cathedral where I went on a little bit of a shopping spree. So quite the adventure today. Huge workout on my legs, never skip leg day, as I love saying. The plan for tomorrow is that we have to get to the airports at 5:30 a.m. because our flight... So, actually, hang on. So we have to leave at 5:30 because it takes an hour to get from the hotel to the airport. And then we have to go through, like, all sorts of checks to make sure that we're not bringing any animals that aren't supposed to be there. And then... our flight is at 7 in the morning. So right off the bat, we are going right to the Galapagos. So, that all being said, I will see you guys in the morning. Everyone say, Bienvenidos a las Galapagos! Bienvenidos a las Galapagos! Alright guys, this is it. We are just about to board the plane. I'm so excited. Like, this is what we've all been waiting for, and this is what it's all been leading up to. So I am just so excited to finally get to the Galapagos. Alright guys, so here you can see we landed on the island of Baltra because that island is the only island in the archipelago that has an airport. So because of that, what we did is we got a bus at the airport and we drove down to the coastline. You'll see right here that there is an absolutely beautiful view of the coastline, and that island over there, which we will be sailing to in just a second, is Santa Cruz, and that is where we stayed the first day. So once we got to Santa Cruz, the first site we went to go see were the twin craters, or as they're called in Spanish, Los Gemelos. So here you can see that we only got to see one of the twin craters because for whatever reason the second crater actually wasn't accessible to tourists. But one thing you'll definitely see is a pattern in this video is that the views are absolutely stunning. Like, this was an absolutely amazing way to kick off our stay on the islands themselves. So then after that, we went to go have lunch at a ranch, but this wasn't just any ranch, this was a giant tortoise ranch. So as you guys can see in this shot, the restaurant is right over there where we had lunch. You can see some of my classmates still seated at the table, but right in front of it, you can see that there is a tortoise. I believe that one was a female because as we had learned, the females are a lot smaller than the males. So surprisingly, there was actually a lot of agriculture on the Galapagos Islands, and there were so many different ranches with lots of cattle. There were chickens running around, there were a couple horses that we saw, and what I especially love about this is that the animals were all free range. There was not a single place we saw where you had animals crammed together in these dirt paddocks. So now, one thing we learned about the tortoises is that unfortunately there are a lot of invasive species here. One invasive species you can see right up ahead near the water is the Bermuda duck, which was an introduced species. But unfortunately, there are a lot of invasive species that are harmful to the native wildlife, such as rats, feral dogs, cats, pigs, other animals that would eat the turtle eggs. So what would happen is that the tortoises would have to be bred in captivity, and then eventually they would be released into the wild. And because the tortoises have no natural predators once they're fully grown, they don't really have to fear humans all that much, which is something that I was able to put together after hearing the tour guide tell us a little bit about these amazing animals. So after our time at the Tortoise Ranch, we went to go see some underground tunnels that were actually formed by flowing lava. So one thing about the Galapagos is that the island chain was created by volcanoes, and because of that, there are a lot of volcanoes present in the Galapagos, especially on Isabella Island, the largest one, which we will go to in the next episode. But here you can see that these tunnels were essentially created by the flowing lava. So now, I do apologize that the camera work isn't the greatest. Again, this is my first time recording a vlog, so just bear with me. So anyways, so in order to light our path, the National Park Service of Ecuador put in these lights, and what's pretty amazing is that the lights allowed for some small plants to actually grow in the lava tunnels. So honestly, it was almost like going into a lush cave in Minecraft, so that was honestly pretty cool. And so speaking of volcanoes, that's also how the twin craters from earlier were also formed, was from volcanic eruptions. And so once we make it to Isabella Island in the next episode, we will hike an absolutely massive volcano, so make sure to stay tuned for that. So the last thing we did for the day before we went to our hotel was we went to the Charles Darwin Research Center. And so here they bred all sorts of different tortoises from a bunch of different islands. We got to learn so much more about tortoise conservation, and we also got to see even more both adult tortoises, but we also got to see all sorts of cute little baby tortoises. So, right in front of us, you could see the well-renowned Lonesome George. So, for those of you who don't know, Lonesome George was the last known individual of the subspecies known as the Pinta Island tortoise. And he was the last of his kind, and unfortunately, he did pass away in the early 2010s. So that meant that his species was officially extinct. So, once we made it through the Tortoise Breeding Center, we went to the Charles Darwin Museum, where we got to see all sorts of cool infographics. We got to see some taxidermied animals, we got to see animal skeletons, we got to learn all sorts of cool stuff about conservation and about the animals that live on the Galapagos Islands. And so that was pretty much the last thing that we did on our first day officially on the Galapagos Islands. Alright guys, so we just got to our second hotel. I do want to keep it down a little bit because there are probably people sleeping. So, here's an official room tour. So, you walk in, and we've got an actual kitchen. We've got a fridge. I can put my water bottle in here to keep it cool. We've got a sink. We got a microwave. Over here we've got some cubby storage. We've got a hamper. Bathroom with toilet, sink, and shower. Okay, so then over here we've got a little dining table. We've got a couch, TV. We've got not one, not two, but 3 beds, 2 side tables, and a beautiful picture. So overall, huge upgrade from the hotel we had in Quito. Okay, so now really quickly, I want to sit down and I want to talk a little bit about the day. So we started, it was a very long flight from Quito to here, but it was all worth it because we got to see so much wildlife. We got to see so many other cool things like the Darwin Museum. I love like all the taxidermied animals and the skeletons. I'm really a huge fan of museums, so I loved today. So here's the plan. The plan for tomorrow is that we're going to get up early again. We're gonna head over to Isabela Island, which is the largest island in the archipelago. And we are going to do some hiking. We're gonna see some flamingos. We're gonna see another tortoise breeding center, which, by the way, I did really love the breeding center. Loved all the baby tortoises. I do
I honestly wasn't expecting to see all the cattle, but I did like it because cattle are pretty cool. Just wasn't expecting it. The tunnels were super cool. Felt like Minecraft. Okay, I'm getting off track. So basically, the plan for tomorrow is we're going to sail over to Isabel Island. We're gonna hike with some flamingos. We're gonna see another tortoise breeding center, and we're going to spend some time at the beach. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna end this episode here, and tomorrow we're gonna start a whole new episode. So if you want to stay tuned, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, make sure to turn on notifications so that way you don't miss out on this awesome adventure. So with that being said, that is going to wrap up today's video. Really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If so, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to see some more Planet Zoo and Jurassic World Evolution 2 content. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.